YouTube, your boy Matthew Walker, aka JustMatt. How y'all doing today, man? Hope y'all doing good, staying well, staying healthy, all that great stuff. We got an interesting video today, man. I'm interested. How is LeBron James still dominating at 37? Just the fact that he's arguably top 3 best in the league right now says a lot. Isn't he leading scoring? Hold up, bro. So the leading scorer right now this season, number 1 is Joel Embiid. Number 2, LeBron, 29.7 a game at 37. If you doing that at 37, bro, you easily scoring 20 a night at 40. Easily. It's like usually you would say a person's like prime, it's like at 27, 28, but now, bro, I think people's prime is like at 31, 32. Like, I love the fact that people putting their health first is making their primes longer. You know what I mean? Making their careers longer. LeBron is one of the most brilliant players who ever touched the floor, man. That's facts, bro. And he keep re-evolutionizing his game, man. As time moves on, you gotta change your game, bro. Michael Jordan did it, Kobe did it, tons of greats did it, man. And LeBron's doing it. You go from like a relentless slasher, you feel what I'm saying, to more like a polished scorer. Like, you feel me? Like, you slowly just like fading into that new game style. I don't know. LeBron's like, I feel like he's literally in between Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? It's like those two combined. And that's not me saying, you know, whatever y'all think I'm saying. That's just me saying that we never seen a person like LeBron before. That's what I'm saying. Class of his own, man. And the fact that he's, you know, doing what he's doing for as long as he's been doing is freaking insane, bro. Like, you gotta think about it, man. You come in the league, there's 450 players in the league. Just you making the NBA is a huge accomplishment, because you know how many millions of people, like millions of people, are trying to make the NBA, man. For some people, that's a championship right there, because their families are taken care of, people they love and care about, man, they taking care of them and able to even like show love back to the community. And like that right there is like a championship itself. So just making to the NBA is like tough. But the ultimate goal to be in the NBA is to win championships, to get to the finals. And the fact that this man, for a decade, made it to the finals. Aside from 2019, other than 2019, he made 8 straight finals in a row. And then he made the finals again in 2020. Round that up, that's a freaking decade, bro. If you know how to make the finals, bro, you're already on my squad, bro. You automatically on my squad. Man, I could talk all day about LeBron, bro. He's my favorite generational player, man. You know, everyone got like their like generational goats. You feel what I mean? And he's my favorite out of all the other eras, bro. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody else. That's just me personally, man. Let's get in straight in the video, man. 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
2005, LeBron James's 56 points in Toronto made him the youngest player ever to score 50. And nearly 17 years later to the day, he matched that feat with 56 against the Warriors. Somehow.
Daggone.
Now, at the age of 37,
Daggone.
LeBron now leads the league in scoring, averaging just under 30 points per game.
And
Which would be his
what?
highest scoring output in 13 years.
That's insane.
So how in the world has James been able to stave off Father Time and excel as the league has changed around him?
And plus, a lot of people are scoring 50 points nowadays, man. KD, Kyrie scored 60. Jordan Clarkson and Josh Hart, I think, scored 47. Steph Curry went off I forgot how many points he scored, but he went crazy on his birthday. Like mad people scoring this many, like, daggone, bro. What's happening? And LeBron. And then he scored another 50 against the Wizards.
Smiths, LeBron has averaged 32 points per game on an impressive 62% true shooting. This has coincided with Anthony Davis missing a ton of time with injury, and LeBron sliding all the way up to center in extended stretches for the first time in his
Come here.
And playing center is a key part of his recent explosion because his gray-bearded skills are amplified as the lone big man in a lineup.
That's crazy, bro. This man can play all 5 positions, bro. You know what I mean? Now, is it recommended for LeBron to play center? No, probably not. But it's the fact he can. This man's LeBron's a 6'9" freight train. I don't think people understand how fast this man moves. At 6'9", bro, you know how light you gotta be on your feet to move that fast? Man.
I've talked about his improved passing over the years, mastering pick and roll reads,
AD can move too.
He slows down
AD can move
too
for real, for real.
to cut off his defender, but he's also waiting for the big man to pick his poison, and when he commits to LeBron, it's a lob to the open roller. Now imagine the 5-man running pick and roll like this. Memphis' center goes to switch, but he's not used to such passing wizardry from big men, since there's really only one center in the world.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh my gosh, bro. You don't see no centers passing like that off the rip other than Jokic. You know what I mean?
World right now who slices teams apart in pick and roll like this. Playing with 4 smaller
you know what I mean?
Gives LeBron 4 moving targets, and he can dime up cutters from the top, and he can hit them old school style with his back to the basket in the post. Playing center also means he has more shooting around him, at least in theory, and he's been doing this long enough to read double teams in
You
his
got
sleep.
jokes.
This might look like the obvious pass, but LeBron finds an even better shooter. James has been throwing skip passes since the dark ages, back when shooters used to spot up inside the three-point line.
And this man critical thinking, bro. Like, he acts quickly, man. You know what I mean?
And after nearly 2 decades of playmaking, he's added a few tricks. A big switches onto him, with a second one doubling. And again, this is LA's center, decelerating to move this defender by looking at the top, then snapping it to the corner for a much better option. Here he's backing down a mismatch, so the Grizzlies load up to him, and then he shoehorns some sorcery around.
Like, he makes the game
defenders.
easy
Even
for his
Luke
teammates, bro.
Skywalker would be impressed with hitting a target that small. Another element LeBron improved over the years is
Like,
his
all you
eyesight.
gotta do, bro, is get ready to shoot, man. That's not all you gotta do. Obviously, you gotta get your own buckets too. You know what I mean? But when you got someone like LeBron on the squad, all you gotta do is just be ready, though. Just, and just get, you know what I mean? Like,
Side shooting. He's slowly transformed
he will set you
from
up.
a subpar shooter to one who's at the least slightly above average. He takes a ton of threes at this point, which makes him more valuable from the outside and helps him stretch the floor as a big man. The Kings switch the smaller Buddy Hield onto
and
LeBron
it's
here.
like he gotta be shooting threes now, because unlike, I think, other than Malik Monk is probably the best 3-point shooter, and Malik Monk is not like a 3-point shooter. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a JJ Redick, Kyle Korver. You feel what I mean? LeBron has to be shooting like threes. Like, man, I was thinking, bro, I would have thought LeBron would have grabbed Kevin Love from the Cavs and get him on the Lakers, bro. To be honest, I feel like that could have played out nicely, you know.
And Hield isn't comfortable leaving him. The big is switched on.
No offense to Russell Westbrook. It just, you know, it just his game, his play style. It's not really fitting the team, man. You know, and I don't like to like single one player out. You know what I mean? Like, it's all Russell Westbrook. I don't like doing that. But you see the turnovers. You know what I mean? You see the bricks. You know, literally the other night, Karl Anthony Towns and Patrick Beverley was trolling this man because he airballed in the corner 3. Like, it's like, you know, you see it and it's hard to not say nothing about it. You feel what I mean? And I mess with Russell Westbrook. I mess with him heavy, you know. And I want this man to win a ring, man, a championship, man. You know, but it is not fitting with the Lakers, man. You know, I feel like Kevin Love would fit nicely, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I think he fit nicely.
He can't help, and that leaves small bodies in the paint for easy finishing. Here's a less extreme example where the Spurs' small ball center switches onto LeBron, and because he's a viable shooter, he can't help into the paint, and Carmelo Anthony can attack very small bodies. Teams will
Carmelo Anthony, I'm not
in response.
I'm pretty sure Carmelo Anthony is a more of a contributor to the Lakers. I'm not sure how Carmelo Anthony's been doing this season so far. I haven't really been paying attention like that. So yeah.
To LeBron at the 5 because he can be too quick for traditional big men who have to give him a little extra space. And if you don't put a big body on him, he's just too big for most of the league's wings. Remember, LeBron is huge, somehow listed at 6'9" barefoot, and who knows how much he weighs these days, but it's enough to throw some weight around and do a Karl Malone impression out there, muscling weaker players like a tank. He knows how to use his strength against bigger opponents too, sealing off the 6'11" Damian Jones here until he's forced to foul. With a little bit of momentum behind him, James is strong enough to just truck a more traditional big.
Excuse me.
And that little shoulder lean that launches Isaiah Hartenstein would probably be an offensive foul in the past, but a lot has changed in 17 years.
Yeah.
Back in that first 50-point game, a svelter LeBron had to navigate more perimeter contact from defenders and then a wall of big men in a packed paint. Even in his first MVP
Yeah, it's nothing too, man. LeBron knows the rules, man. You know, so the rules change. He's going to adjust to that to make it his advantage. You feel me?
season 13 years ago, defenders could
Just like how any
ride
great would.
offensive players a bit with their forearm, and then there were pretty much always 7-footers in the paint. James's dynamic athleticism made him one of history's greatest rim finishers, despite driving into more traffic back then. He had explosive acceleration on his penetration and the vertical gifts to finish into 7-footers. And by the end of his first Cleveland stint, he was strong enough to drive right through bigger defenders of that era. Even in the Cavs championship season in 2016, some teams were still trotting out 2 traditional 7-footers, making it hard for LeBron to drive all the way to the cup. As three-point shooting boomed in the last few seasons, defenders were pulled out of the paint, giving LeBron space to attack and bully the smaller players on the court.
Dang.
One subtle effect of all that space is that penetrators have more vertical options as they approach a shot blocker. LeBron can go to either side of this defender and slides left into open air. Compare that to 2010 with an extra big man sitting on the block, and LeBron prematurely takes off trying to wedge into a gap without crashing into anything.
There's more spacing
Fast forward
nowadays,
to
for sure.
today, and an even slower, older LeBron can attack empty space and finish over smaller defenders with ease. Whereas back in 2008, he needed those rocket boosters and hang time to manufacture easy shots. If we look at rim finishing since 2001 across the league, LeBron has put up incredible numbers in nearly every season of his career, adding more volume to his efficiency during his MVP years, and then in 2016, in his 13th season, his volume of rim attempts spikes while only losing a little efficiency. His numbers look incredibly similar for the next few years at an age when most players decline, and now in 2022, he looks like a comparable or even better finisher than he was back in 2009. I've discussed his improvement for adaptive finishing before, but so much of this is the structural changes in the league, creating an easier environment for big, strong, smart athletes like LeBron, which explains how an older, less explosive version can statistically keep pace with his younger self, who looked like he was engineered in a Marvel studio. And we can actually see this in 2022 when we dig a little deeper. Despite LeBron's incredible longevity, there are clear signs of physical decline.
Whoa.
His stationary, quick-gathered jump isn't nearly as explosive as it was in his mid-20s.
Word.
A decade ago, his two-footed leaping had way more burst, whereas today gravity pulls him back to the floor a bit too suddenly sometimes. In his 20s, he could power through contact and still explode upwards to the hoop. But now lowering that shoulder and leaping doesn't provide nearly the same vertical lift. And while there was a time when he could turn the corner and accelerate like a blur, those days are long behind him, yet he's still bigger and stronger than most of the league. As a center, he can use his mind and quickness edge, punishing DeAndre Ayton's help by cutting at the exact moment he's recovering to the perimeter, and most centers just can't do that. But when LeBron is a wing, he loses that quickness edge, settling for a long three here instead of attacking. And look at the paint. There's a traditional big standing in his way to deter any drive. All that space LA creates with four smalls goes away with old school lineups. The Clippers have three defenders in the paint when he turns the corner, including a 7-footer waiting under the rim, and LeBron resorts to jumping into a defender to manufacture free throws. Even on post-ups, it's harder to back down smaller players when the opposing team...
I like stuff like this because it gets me, like, whenever I do see a game, it kind of opens your eyes a little more about, like, why he does some of the things he does. You know what I mean?
Center can just roam off Dwight Howard and act as a roadblock. In these more traditional lineups, LeBron's rim numbers drop significantly because he doesn't have the same opportunities to attack. And we can actually see this in the data. If we return to those rim finishing numbers, when LeBron plays center, he's putting up some of the most prolific rim scoring of his career. When he plays next to one of the other Lakers' big men, the volume falls back down to earth, but he still looks really good. But in the small sample he's played with two big men, LeBron is no longer an elite rim finisher. Even folding in last season, he still looks like a different finisher with two bigs out there than in those small ball lineups. And that's a huge reason why his scoring numbers have looked so different since moving to center without Anthony Davis. With LeBron at the 5, he's putting up the best scoring numbers in the league. But when he's had to share the court with at least one other big man, he looks more like a top 15 scorer instead. LA's offense is 6 points better per 100 with James at center. But the Lakers are still being outscored in those minutes because the defense is bleeding value with LeBron as the lone big man. This is a classic defensive trade-off where downsizing can leave you vulnerable to mismatches inside. LeBron isn't even on the Clippers center here, and when he does get switched on to him, he's not big enough to shore up the Lakers' disadvantage on the defensive glass, leading to second chance points. He's never had the quickest feet on the perimeter, but he's lost some agility on the outside, which opens him up to more blow-bys like this, and it makes changing directions and recovering harder. He has no chance to help in the paint after stumbling toward the perimeter on this transition play. He is still smart enough on that back line that I think it would look better with upgraded defensive teammates around him.
It's like as much he, you know, keep re-evolutionizing his game. You know, there's still cons that comes with that. You know what I mean? But I feel like, you know, as you get older, it's like, you know, your body is not as fast and not as strong as, like, you know, your younger body is, but like your mind though. You know what I mean? Because when you have a younger body, your mind is not as smart and as wise as your older body. Like, it's weird. You know what I mean? So like, it is like you just gotta pick whichever. You know.
Man here, but reads that it's Spain pick and roll, and his reaction is just enough to throw off Ayton on the finish. And while he can't instantly bounce off the floor anymore, he's still big enough to target shots low like this and provide some paint resistance. When he builds up speed and can jump off one leg, he can actually still reach skyscraping heights. This is a testament to the $1 million a year he reportedly spends maintaining his body, which preserves some of his straight line speed and power off of one leg. Specifically when he has the time to transfer all that horizontal force into vertical leaping. The first time I saw LeBron in person, I was blown away by his straight line speed, and even an older cheetah is still really fast. That's also one of the reasons he's been so deadly in transition throughout his career, and he's still a ton to handle on the break, building up speed with that giant frame and overwhelming backpedaling defenders. Even at high speeds, some changes direction. It's like, and great
that's the IQ though.
Moves like this, hopping back to the left and staying under control to finish around Klay Thompson here. LeBron's subtle tricks and veteran guile help him offset athletic decline, rolling to the hoop and gathering, only to fake his jump against the help, then clearing space to score comfortably. He's big enough to still be a pretty dangerous roll man, cleaning up misses like this, or using that fluid athleticism to catch and finish like few big men can. Heck, LeBron is probably more versatile today on offense than he was 15 years ago, and his improved shooting lets him pop out for threes as well. This means he can be the ball handler or a dynamic screener in the two-man game because of all the work he's added to his shot.
Word.
And this allows him to pull off the league's best Nikola Jokic impression, flowing into handoffs and finishing as a roll man, or keeping it on handoff action and immediately backing down smaller players for some bully ball at the basket. Of course, when he starts pounding on smaller players, that S-class passing makes it hard to double him safely. So, while changes in the game today have slowed down his decline, and his latest run at center has even inflated his offensive numbers, LeBron James's continued success is made possible by that improved shooting, passing, his preternatural feel, and the basketball computer in his head that he's developed over the decades.
Yeah.
And that's why, at the age of 37, in his 19th season, he is still one of the best players in the NBA. To support this channel, check
Man. Shout out Thinking Basketball, man. I think his name Ben Taylor. You know what I mean? Used to react to him months ago. But yeah, man. Wow. Yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Hope y'all enjoyed. You know what I mean? Stay well, stay healthy, stay blessed. Love us very much, man. Peace. I'm out.